Hi, everybody. It's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Have you been getting even more email than ever before now that we're all in quarantine and everyone's working remotely? I know I have, and I know that lots of people that I talk to all the time have been getting a lot more email too. And so I thought that maybe this would be a good time to readdress, how do we handle our email? How do we get on top of it so that it doesn't seem just like this never ending, unclimbable mountain or this hole that we'll never be able to get out of? So if you're getting more email than ever, I want you to think about a couple of things. So the first one is, let's think about our email as kind of a triage room instead of a to-do list. Think about your email kind of like an emergency room where there's a triage nurse, and that triage nurse is going to take a look at everybody in the waiting room and decide what needs to happen with them and when does it need to happen. That's how you should approach your email. So you take a look at the email and you use what I call the one-touch rule to figure out what to do with it. So what the one-touch rule is pretty easy, simple. It's that there are only ever three things you can do with any email. The first one is that it's an informational email. It doesn't require a response. It's just an FYI to you. So go ahead and archive it, file it, just get it out of your inbox. No response necessary. The second thing you can do is reply. If it's an email that you have the answer to, either in your brain or at your fingertips within a few minutes, then go ahead and reply, get out that full reply. Whether you're worried about it, whether you have the perfect words, whether you're worried about what the response may be, doesn't matter. Just get the reply out and then archive that email, get it out of your inbox. And then finally, the last category, and this is where most people get into trouble, where you're using your email as a to-do list, is that it's something that you can't answer right now, right? Either somebody's asking you to do a task or a project, or you don't have the information. It's going to take a little bit more research, more than just a few minutes, or maybe it's something where you need to get approval from somebody, or you need to get buy-in somehow, and so you just can't answer it right now. Well, instead of leaving it in your inbox and marking it as unread, or just leaving there and not marking it as unread, I want you to put that on your task list, prioritize it in with all your other work, because now it is actually other work that you need to prioritize. So think about your email inbox as an emergency room triage, and that will help you get through it faster. Another thing to think about is the fact that we often just ignore some emails. It's kind of benign neglect. It's not on purpose. There's just too much of it. But what happens then with unanswered email is that it begets more email, unfortunately, right? Somehow we just think, okay, we'll just let it go, and maybe people will forget about it, etc. Or it's not even that conscious. But the reality is unanswered email begets more email. And so we want to process our email systematically and intentionally so that we don't get more emails. Because essentially what happens when you're not replying to somebody's email is now they have this story going in their head. What's happening with this person? Why aren't they responding to my email? Should I call them? Should I email them again? Should I Slack them? Should I schedule a meeting because they're not answering their email? It's wasting time for them because now they're thinking about all this, but it's also wasting time for you because you're going to get another email to follow up. You are going to get a Slack message to follow up. You're going to get a phone call. You're going to get somebody putting time on your calendar. So answering our emails systematically and thoroughly helps everyone save time, and it saves your credibility. And then finally, I want you to think about how you answer email and when you answer email. So most of us, we just have notifications on, and an email comes in, we look at it, we decide if it's worth responding to right now, and we respond to it in the moment. I don't want you to do that. I want you to turn off all of those notifications. Emails are, by definition, other people's priorities. Or at least that's my definition. And so we don't want to be at the beck and call of every single notification that comes in. We want to batch process our email so that we can get through it thoroughly and systematically, and so that it doesn't interrupt the rest of the things that we've got going on, causing us to lose time overall. So how can you be responsive and also have those notifications turned off? It's easy. Batch process. So set up a few times a day when you're going to check your email, when you're going to process it as far down to zero as you can get. You're going to do it systematically. You're going to use the one-touch rule. For me, I like to do it about 3 times a day. That works well for my workload, for my email, and for the people I need to get back to. So I like to do it in the morning, maybe around 10 or 11. I process email another time after lunch, and then one more time before I'm done for the day. Now, your workload may be totally different than mine. You might get more emails or less. And so maybe you need to answer more frequently, or maybe you only need to answer email a couple of times a day. But think about how can you batch process that so that you're not switching gears constantly and you're not at the beck and call of other people's priorities, interrupting that work that you're trying to do all day long. So I hope this has been helpful for you in trying to understand a few simple ways that you can get control over your email, even when we're getting more emails than ever before.